My name is Jacob and I am Make.com an AI developer. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add the leads coming from your website form into CRM platform like HubSpot. This video can be important and valuable for you if you want to also catch form data from any website to Make.com, if you want to extract information from the form, if everything is stored in one block and that is not in variables, if you want to validate if email is valid in Make.com, if you want to send error messages through the email, if you want to check if specific user exists in HubSpot based on his email, if you want to add the lead to a CRM platform, or if you want to store any data cached by Google Sheet. So that's basically what this scenario you can see on the screen is doing. And I'll share with you this workflow for free. I'll provide all the additional information in the description as well. So with that, I'm going to quickly show you how it works. So imagine that there is this simple form. There is no special information, but the first field is about the name and the email. So let's put something incorrect. Let's say that name is all right, email is all right, but there is no text. Let's go and click Submit Form, and this will be one of our examples. Now, let's create another scenario where there is a name, there is email, but email is incorrect. And let's put any additional text. Let's click Submit Form. Oh, that should be all right without .com. And this time, let's add everything properly. So this is my name and surname. That's my correct email. And this text, Submit Form. Cool. And once these forms are submitted successfully, we can go to Make.com and we can run this scenario once to see if these three datas came in. And as you can see, 3 of them just arrived. So let's check the first module. In the first module, we can see something called bundles. And you can see in all of them that there's a text content, and this is just a block of text. So there is name, email, message. In bundle number 2, there is name, email, which is incorrect, and then message. And the bundle 3, as we did earlier, everything here is correct. All right, so once all these informations were submitted by the form, we can check our inbox if we got any notifications, any messages about if there was any error. All right, once these forms were sent through website, we can go and run that scenario. I already did it. So as you can see, we successfully have these 3 bundles, 3 variables went through this whole workflow. And let's check I'll check my email to see if that's correct. So first one is, I got this email about problem with Make.com HubSpot. One of these variables does not exist. And as we did in the first example, there is a message, which message doesn't exist. That's correct. And there was a second one, which is invalid email. And you can see that one of the variables, I should change this actually, but just the text. And the email is incorrect, and the email is also underlined. So as you can see, email is incorrect. That's fine. And the third one, everything was sent properly. And you can see this name and email was added into our CRM HubSpot. So how this workflow works? Basically, we can start with first module. And this is a connection to my Gmail. You have to choose the folder and criteria by all the emails, whatever. And then this is very important. There's a phrase where every incoming form comes with certain phrase. And that is, a new form has been submitted to your website, details below. Because if we go to the email and we can open this notification, you can see there's this form from the website where there's a text. A new form has been submitted to your website. So you exactly have to tell Make.com that there is a specific phrase in your inbox where this specific text appears. That means this is basically this form. So yeah, so that's the most important. A new form has been submitted. And then mark messages as read. You can put also maximum number of results as 200 or even 1000 if you have a lot of emails, if you get a lot of emails. By the way, it's very important to run this program at regular intervals, and I set it for 1 hour. So basically right now, my program is going to, the make.com scenario is going to turn on every 60 minutes. So every 60 minutes, we will going to check if there was any form submitted last hour. Now, another module tells about this pattern. So as you can see in the result of when we get the email, we just get one variable name, text content, where there is name, email, and message. All of this is stored in basically only one text. And we have to separate it somehow to the variables. So variable called name, variable called email, and variable called message. The best way to do it is obviously you can run something like a ChatGPT blog that will divide these variables, but this is going to cost extra money and it can work 8 out of 10 times, but 2 out of 10 times it will give you a mistake. So I think this match pattern is much better, and I will provide you this pattern, this long pattern in the description below. So basically there is a name, and where this name appears, let's just store it in a variable. And then there's an email, let's store it in a variable. And then there are the messages, let's store them in the variables as well. This pattern just works perfectly. Global match, yes. Case sensitive, multi-line, no, because basically this text goes into one line. Single line, obviously, yes. And the text, we just have to put the text from the email. Make.com is really nice because it provides these variables. You can clearly see what you're clicking, which variables you're choosing. So we are choosing the text content. And then we can click save. That's it. And the result of it, as you can see, is incoming is this whole big text. But the outcome is everything is separated by variables. Variable name, variable email, and variable message. That works great. Now, another module is this another match pattern, but it's going to do a little bit different job. So basically, this long and weird pattern tells us that it's going to check the email, if email is correct, if it has numbers like from 0 to 9, if it has a at, if it has a dot at the end or something like that. Yeah, but that's like a basic check if the email is correct, if it's not missing anything. And we can see that in the operation 1, there's a fallback match, and that means basically it is correct. In the operation number 2, there is that email at abcwithout.com, and it didn't output anything. That means it is incorrect, so we can work on it later. And then operation 3, there is an email and fallback match. That means it is correct. Okay, so now we are going through router. Basically, a router is just checks if certain things happened or not. So we can put like a first if statement, and that is if data doesn't exist. And what we are doing here is that this label is just a text for you. Condition, we put the name from the variable we stored, and that is name right here. Does not exist. You're just choosing does not exist, and then or rule. That means if the name or the email doesn't exist or the message doesn't exist, the whole operation, like the whole program will break. And that means if one of these conditions is not fulfilled, then something is going to happen. And that means something in our example, we're going to send a message. So if name doesn't exist, email doesn't exist, or the message doesn't exist, we have to send an email message to specific account. So as you can see, email module is called send an email, and to, obviously, I'm sending to myself. There is a subject, that's easy, and the content. One of the variables does not exist. BR, in this example, separates the lines. If the content was without it, everything would be in one line. But this BR is called break in programming, and it just breaks the code. It just breaks the text. And we put the name, we put the email, and we put what was the message. Even if there was no message, it will put like a nothing. All right, and in our operation number one, because only this first operation didn't have some text, didn't have some data, and the content was one of the variables does not exist. Name exists, email exists, but the message doesn't have anything here. All right, there is another if statement if the data exists, but the email is invalid. And what that means? That means if something happened in this module where we are checking if the email is correct or not, something will happen here. So if data exists, but the email is invalid, and here it is. Name, if the name exists, if the message exists, but the fallback match does not exist. Because you can see there is a fallback match because email is correct. In operation number two, there is no fallback match because something is wrong with the email. And in operation number three, if the fallback match exists as well. So we are running this only if fallback match does not exist. That means something wrong happened with the email. Then we just send another email, and that is the same thing as before. So there's an email, there is subject, and one of the variables does not exist. Oh, actually, this is the one where I have to change it. That's very easy. Let's just say problem with the email. All right, and there's name, email, and message. And the email, it will show just basically incorrect email. So let's just click save. All right, and what was the outcome? One of the variables does not exist and name is correct. It shows you the email with the code that contains the letter U, and that is basically underline. This is my email, and it is missing .com, so that means this is incorrect email. All right, and the last scenario is where everything is fine. Let's just do something with that data. So if data exists, if everything is all right, and that is if name exists, if fallback match exists, that means email is correct. If message exists, let's do something with it. When you connect to your HubSpot when you connect to your HubSpot CRM, you can see there is some properties, but we don't have to put anything here. We can go down and you see that I clicked on Show Advanced Settings. So when you click on it, the filter search result will pop up. And you have to search for email. So just look for email, click on it. Email equals to our email. It will check in our HubSpot if the email we try to put from make.com already exists in our database. So last thing is that you sort direction descending, and then we set the limit to 5, but actually we can even put it 1, doesn't matter. Let's click save. And then we have to put another filter, and it is that if contact doesn't exist in our HubSpot. And that means if the result of it does not exist. If we look at the result of this outcome of this module, you can see that total number of bundles is 0, like output was 0, nothing showed up. I'll show you again. We will send the data through the form to make.com, exactly the same data we did before. So let's click on submit form, the same email, the same name, the same text, and this form was submitted. Now let's go to make.com and run this program again to see if something happened in the CRM in this module. Right, so something happened, the data didn't go through further, and if we open that module, you can actually see that the output of it is the create date, email, and last modified date. That means this email already exists in our CRM. So it will show us that email. So that means that if the contact doesn't exist in our HubSpot, if the email does not exist, in our example now, it broke, right? Because it saw already this variable exists. But if the email doesn't exist, we go further, and that means we can add the contact to HubSpot. And how I did it is we do the same connection as before, HubSpot CRM connection to your own account, view method as compact, and we add some properties. So every property we have to search in here, but this is very basic search. So we put the first name, we put the email as incoming email, and we can put the message as incoming message. And we click save. And the last thing is just a Google Sheet connection. So when you connect to your Google Sheet spreadsheet, you can search for Google Sheet you already created, the spreadsheet you already created. So just basically create your own spreadsheet data. I named it as HubSpot contacts, put the headers, like in my example, I did it as create add, name, email, and message. And when you create this module, this Google Sheet module in make.com, the one with add a row, it will show you all the sheets you have here, right? So I chose the one I created, HubSpot contacts, sheet name as sheet number 1. The table do contain headers because the headers are like this: create, add, name, email, message. We just put that data in there and then we click save. And the result of it, with every new incoming lead, the sheet will be automatically updated and everything will be added to the Google Sheet. So that's it basically. That's how this whole automation works. And I hope I helped you a little bit with this process. I hope you found any solution to any module you're struggling with. And you have any other questions, just please ask me in the comments. I will respond to any of them. And if you found this video valuable, I would be very happy if you subscribe my channel and like this video as well. Thank you very much.